Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Heroic Molten Core is inevitably approaching. We don't know when it's coming, but preparations are always good to have in order. So I went through the normal Molten Core, this time with leaders that I wouldn't usually use. So I went through all the leaders, I decided which ones are the most expendable, and then I used all of those to go through normal, so that I would save as big of a leader palette as possible for Heroic. And this is what I was able to come up with. So I did Lucifron with Grommash, then I did Magmadar with Hogger, Gehenas and Shazzrah with Baron Rivendare, Garr with Cairne, Baron Geddon with Charlga, and Golemagg with Murk-Eye, although in hindsight, it's more important to be able to cycle fast in Golemagg than it is in Geddon, so I would switch these two. So I would actually use Murk-Eye in Geddon and Charlga in Golemagg with the exact same armies that I'm using right now. And then I did Ragnaros with Onu, and that was also a lot of fun. Although it's hard to build a fully self-sufficient Onu army, I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later. But those 7 leaders, and that would leave me with all of the good stuff pretty much for the heroic version. But I do wonder if I would actually want Onu there somewhere, so Ragnaros leader a little bit of question mark, but this was a pretty fun set anyway. Looking at the armies, Grommash taking on Lucifron with an army like this. So execute. Witch Doctor, I don't usually use any Horde minis apart from execute, but I wanted to put in some Horde minis, so I put in the Witch Doctor. And Harpies, Whelpex, Quillbore, and Vorgen. Quillbore Whelpex can do a lot against Lucifron already, and the rest just used to defend and do a little bit more, so that's that. For Magmadar, I did something I hadn't done before, although I got the idea from Gangfest, who told me that he has done Magmadar with Eclipse and Starfall. So giving those levels to Starfall, then there's Starfall in Magmadar. And now that we know that the heroic Magmadar, oh well, at least the current state of heroic Magmadar, is such that when you kill hounds and they resurrect, then Magmadar is going to heal up. Then just bypassing those hounds and going straight for Magmadar with spells looks like it's potentially going to be the strategy to use in the heroic. I already did it in normal with Hogger, so I had those, then I had a little of Darkspear trolling and blade farming and bandits so that I can open some of those chests and get all of that gold, and then a little bit of harpies, a little bit of firepower against the fire elementals, against the earth elementals, that sort of stuff, and then just killing Magmadar with the spells. For Gehenas and Shazzrah, pretty much the standard way to do this, with Gargoyle, not with Molten Giant, so resistant Gargoyle, some Meatwagon support from behind. Safe pilots to handle elite Flamewakers, just usual stuff. I used Cairne for Garr. I have sometimes done Garr with Cairne. I mean, I do of course prefer Drakizat, maybe even Sneed is better, but Cairne can lead a Death Ball. So here's the Death Ball team with Cairne, also Skeletons for defense, Safe Pilot for Trolls, just pretty basic stuff. For Geddon I used a Charlga army, also again pretty basic army. I can make a resistant gargoyle, I have the chimera, I have some defensive power with the harpies. You could also use a banshee if you like. I have a miner so I can mine, and I have a meat wagon, so if my partner is high level then we can often just take it on the first round already. And if first round we're not ready to do it, then I can of course wait as well. But I think this would be better done with Murk-Eye as the leader, the exact same army. Because I used Murk-Eye in Golemagg, and that was the boss that I struggled with the most this time. Just hounds kept being pulled. And Murk-Eye, because Murk-Eye is a dead card, and maybe because I had Polymorph in this one, I'm not sure. Could have maybe had some more proactive spell, but then again, then I wouldn't be able to buff all of these minis, so it would of course be a little bit difficult. Charlga would be more flexible to comb as well. Anyway, it was quite difficult to get the army to Golemagg, and try to go through any lane, and to any lane you go to, and then there's some kind of a Cairne or Tyrion or whatever, just pulling all the hounds there. But yeah, got through Golemagg, and then finally I got to Ragnaros. And Ragnaros was a lot of fun with Onu. I also got a hint about Onu. I mean, obviously Onu has been used, a bit of a meme comp, has been used for Ragnaros before. But what I hadn't considered is how powerful the Swole Troll is. Troll Train talent, so that we optimize DPS on Ragnaros. Troll Train Swole Troll can still also hit Sons of Flame, so you can use this for the phase switch. And then give it resistance with Pharaoh Dragon. And that's going to just pummel Ragnaros so incredibly fast. I did this in 2 different ways. I did it with this, and then I also used Dark Eye Miner instead of Execute. The downside of having Dark Eye Miner instead of Execute is that I don't have any way to kill Major Dome Executors. So I'm completely reliant on my partner for that. But other than that, it would be better because then I would have some more gold and deny gold from the AI, and that would just help a lot. Of course, you could also ditch the Banshee, but then you don't have a whole lot of tools if you do that. So, but I think the Execute version is probably a little bit better. This is what the Dark Eye Miner version looked like. So of course this slot was so that this was buffed, this mini. But yeah, that's sort of options there for normal Molten Core. And I think this leaves all of the good leaders, pretty much all of the good leaders for Heroic, although I kind of maybe want to use only in Heroic, so I really don't know about Ragnaros. But either way, this is what normal Molten Core with some off-meta leaders looks like in action. So here we go, Lucifron open queue with Grommash. So let's see what the good old Grom can do in Lucifron. Here we go. I'm a little uncertain. I could of course also try to just go unbounce a lot, but yeah, I'm at least starting with more traditional, trying to get some towers taken and trying to take some of those dominators down. It's typically easier to start with the right side dominator because the left side, the fire elemental, is so close to the dominator that you often end up getting hit by the fire elemental, so you're not getting much done. So we now have the dominator down on the right, but we didn't get the tower. That was a mistake from me putting that miner out there, because of course the harpy would get dominated. But now there's stuff coming. We need to defend. I would need to get to that second dominator, but I noticed that my partner doesn't exactly have a lot of levels here. So let's see what we can do. Trying to get some executes out there as well. Getting the base tank a little. Wilbur being dominated is excellent news. I could probably kill the dominator now. Oh, the living bomb in the middle. That was awkward. Too bad, lost the artas and everything. But all the dominators are now dead. So that's step 1. Then might take some towers while we're at it. And then try to go for some unbounds, probably on the boss. See what we can do. Grommash taking a tower, that's sweet. Start. And the tower was allowed to heal full. Trying to get some whale pegs. That was too late. Okay, now we turn around. Okay, so far so good. Small problem in that all the spiderlings and the firehammer spawned. So I would actually need to execute now, right? I would want to have execute for the phase change, so I would have needed to drop the Vorgen there, I think. I'm taking this a little bit too slow here. If I dropped the Vorgen, I could have phased, maybe. And that would still kept the execute for the phase change, which would have been nice. Let's see. Going to fight back a little bit against the assault. So far things are, well, somewhat under control, I suppose. At least they're not totally out of control. Good use of the Vorgen. Vorgen kills stuff. And we need to get the phase change, but I would also need to have gold available when that happens. So let's see, can we get it now? No, we cannot. Can this Quillbor get it? Yes, it can. Alright. Phase change time. Because I really didn't want to let the Dominators spawn on their own before a phase change. Because we get to that timeout, and that's bad. Should have had a... Well, I did spend the Quillbor already, so I didn't have a Quillbor. Yeah. Tough. Well, drop something out there. Get rid of that Dominator fast, please. Okay, yes, now it's dead. Vorgen's back. Worgen can start killing firehammers. Yummy. And I can start working on the Dominator on the left side. Dominating Grommash's illusion. And then Ogre Mage, but that was only momentary. So far so good. I believe we can do this. We can still do this. This will be possible. I hope. That's a lot of stuff. And the Firehammer is going to... Firehammer is easily going to kill... Harpies, if I try to kill Giant with Harpies. Grom trying to help. Taunt, yes, Taunt is good. Not sure if it's good enough, there's so much stuff coming. I'm feeling a little hopeless here. But we'll work on it. Alright, Harpies did a great job there. Lich King's presence actually executed the Giant. So 20% less damage needed. And now we should be on the good path. Alright. No, still hard to push. Well, we get Grom, we get Witch Doctor. Grom with some help. And we can get some shields on those illusions. They will last a couple of more hits, which is good. But now there's a new set of Dominators because we were so slow. Which was not fun. But we'll make it work, we'll make it work. Maybe. Actually looking quite... Because there's so many giants and stuff coming all the time that I feel like I'm just forced to keep defending all the time. Unable to start pressing the attack. Maybe now. So another set of Dominators. Overtime is about to start. 2 more phases to go. Base not looking too healthy. Lots of bad things, but we finally get the towers. Okay. Some Fire Elementals spawn. Have a Grommash up against them. More giants coming again. And those Firehammers. Grom will go help. Well, Bloodlust always helps. Bloodlust is never a bad thing to have. And I'm starting to blast a little bit at Lucifron with Whelpecks and Quillbores. Because now I have to be able to afford it. Because we won't have enough time otherwise. I hope that I will be able to kill the giant before the phase change. And I managed to get it. Alright. And then start dropping those eggs and Quillbores just outside of the Dominator reach. A little bit late with the Quillbore. The Whelps got destroyed. But there's more Whelps. It is overtime after all. Plenty of gold. I can just drop more Whelps. I can drop more Executes. Those Whelps are a little bit too close to the boss. That's why they died. So a couple of mistakes there, but between the Whelps, the Quillbores, the Executes and the Vorgans, then I was still able to pull it off. Alright, next up is Magmadar, trying out this Starfall strategy that I was given a hint about. And because it looks like heroic Magmadar will be able to heal when hounds are getting resurrected, at least when hounds resurrect other hounds, then that might mean that some kind of indirect strategy where you just don't attack the hounds might be the best way to handle that. So good time now to start working on it in normal. Maybe I dropped that first one a little bit too soon. I think I should have secured the tower first. That would have made a lot of sense. And like secure the towers, then start blasting at Magmadar when you can defend in depth better. You don't have to just defense right at your base. Either way, now we have some things going here. I'm going to send Hogger out there. Hogger was taunted. And Frosted. And the priest heals. What? 5-man. Oh, 5-man talent. It has its upsides. Now there is an Earth Elemental coming towards our base. I think it looks like it will fall onto me to defend. Well, Harpies and Plague Farmers should handle it very, very quickly, and they do. Splendid. Alright, so far so good. Now I just want to save some gold, and then I want to start blasting that Magmadar. Let's go. Star falling. That's 19 ticks of damage with the extended duration talent. Oh, yeah. Oh, 5-man plus Earth Elemental. Get some troops out there to handle that. If we do, Defies Bandits give me more gold. And there's apparently a bit of an assault by a Plague Farmer. Got another phase change, and then I'm going to do another Starfall, defend a little bit. I'd say the Starfall strategy does look very, very clean for this boss. I think this might be the top approach now. Hogger obviously not the top leader for this. You would want someone who can buff 2 Cenarion slots or spell and elemental slots, but Hogger doing what it can. And look at that Starfall. Start falling. And again. Oh, the damage is just coming in. Boom. Then Gehenas and Shazzrah. I'm actually not too excited about Rivendare in the sense that I don't particularly want those skeletons. Those skeletons are not very useful here. But Rivendare has the undead slots. And I want those for the gargoyle and for the meat wagon. So I'm willing to tolerate the existence of those skeletons. I don't think they will hurt me too much. So here we go. Alright, they have a safe pilot taking out the first elite Flamewaker. And I have Gargoyle coming in. And as long as there are no ground units close to Shazzrah, Shazzrah will not use the AoE attack. Shazzrah will only use single target attack. I'm a little bit unhappy to see that Pyromancer out there. Shazzrah teleported away. Shazzrah would have next done AoE and killed the Pyromancer. But be that as it may, up we go against Gehennas too, and I'm sending Gargoyle to grab the middle tower. And oh boy, Shazzrah seems to be in trouble against Whelp, Eggs and Chimera. That was unexpected, but look at that. Shazzrah is really taking a beating now. And Shazzrah actually just goes down. A bit of living bombing, but resistant Gargoyle doesn't mind too much. Alright, so only Gehennas left. Now we need some attack power here, so that if there is an elite Flamewaker, then we'll be able to handle it, or preferably we'll be able to prevent an elite Flamewaker from coming all together. And yeah, pow. Gargoyle's in, damage is in, and Gehenna and Shazzrah are down. Next up is Garr, and I'm with Sneed, so this looks promising. We actually have very high level base this time, so we have a base that can survive Garr's Earthquake. I hadn't really truly considered that here. I see that Sneed doesn't defend, so I have to put the Plague Farmer out there to defend. I'm not super happy about that one, because now the Plague Farmer might end up taking a tower. And I really don't want it to take a tower. Because now the Sneed is going up that way. What I want to happen here is I want to start defending my side, and then I will start supporting that Sneed push. That's my plan. But the Sneed is supporting my Plague Farmer, so my Plague Farmer doesn't die. And then I take a tower too, which is the opposite of what I wanted to happen. I really didn't want to take a tower, because I wanted to support one push from Sneed's side. Well, that happened anyway, and Sneed keeps supporting this side. Okay, well, if that happens, here I'm still thinking that I'm still going to defend. They're going to stop supporting this side, and everything's gonna be fine. But then they start playing minis on this side. A lot of minis on this side, which really caught me by surprise, because I was trying to support their push on the other side. But At this point, now I start thinking, okay, what do I really do here? And then I decided, okay, well, we could actually just push both sides. It would just be important for my side to come in a little bit later, so that they wouldn't die to the AoE clear. So then we would have one push from the other side, one push from my side, and then Garr would die from there. Because that is possible, that can happen. Now it just needs, both sides need support, but the Sneed side is somehow stuck. I don't know what happened there. They maybe gave me a bit too much. They gave me a bit too much range DPS, and they didn't give themselves range DPS. Yeah, so the Sneed side is stalling now. This is bad, because this is not what we want. We don't want these two death balls to arrive at Garr close to simultaneously, so that they will both be cleared by the phase change. We really wanted, I wanted the Sneed side to arrive, for when I was capping gold there, I could have played something at my base, and then it would take more time to walk up, but I was like intentionally waiting, capping gold. But now that I recognized, okay, what's going on here is that those two death balls are both going to reach Garr. They're probably going to push two phases because there's so much damage, and that means that we're going to go into phase 3. And what happens when we go into phase 3 is that it becomes a race, and I intend for us to win that race. So I'm now starting to build another death ball here, a little bit lower so that I have time to add more minis to it, so that we will have an assault coming early enough, so that we will be able to attack Garr before our base goes down, even though we have to start from scratch. And here we go, the death ball is actually coming along pretty nicely. There's a lot of power in it. Now Sneeds are also being added to it. That's sweet, that's sweet. I like that. And our base keeps taking damage because this is the last phase. There's the cave in. And what we need is just add to this death ball so that it's going to be able to kill Garr. And there we have a bunch of healing, bunch of plate farmers, few cairns. That should do it. And then Cairne starts smashing. And then the plague farmers join in from a little bit further away with the Splashing Pumpkin's talent. So now those plague farmers, pow pow. Well, they're actually getting pushed into the AoE by the priestesses. Oopsie. Either way, Garr goes down. And then it is Baron Geddon time. This time I was able to get Baron Geddon down on the very first attempt. Maybe a little bit luckily, but either way. So the big question in my mind here is, should I still have Charlga for this, or should I switch Murk-Eye for this? Well, you be the judge, seeing how Charlga performs here. And I mean, we could do Murk-Eye with the exact same slots. That's possible. That positioning on the Chimera, I'm not sure. I mean, if Chimera kills the Drake fast enough so that the Gargoyle kills the tower, then that's genius. If Chimera is too slow to kill the Drake and Gargoyle doesn't get to kill the tower, then that was a terrible mistake. And Gargoyle lived at least 1 HP left. That was genius. Because Chimera, if you position it like that, then it actually won't aggro onto the tower. It's so far from the tower. But that was the fastest way for it to get to the Drake. Alright. Then, so we have top left. We want to get top right. And we're just about ready to go in and blast. So, on the first round, if you want to kill Geddon on the first round, you have to have control of the top towers, and you preferably want to have a pretty good attack going on at bottom right. If those things happen, you can do it on the first round. But I can see that the top tower is going to fall, like now it fell, now we have it. So I knew we had that. I knew we had a Gargoyle and a Rend going for the bottom tower. So we had all the tools that we need in order to make this work. Every single tool for the first round kill is here. Let's see. My partner for some reason is sending a lot of stuff to the bottom right, which I'm not fully certain about why things are going that way, but let's see. Maybe it's fine. Okay, now I'm out of gold and I couldn't get a third gargoyle out there. So if my partner had sent a gargoyle here, we would have killed it here. But on the other hand, now we have super strong defense. Because he was all in the defense there. So we couldn't get the kill. But we're also defensively in a position I have never been in such a good position defensively. I mean, this is just phenomenal. Everything is so incredibly safe. So, who knows? Maybe that was the best possible move. Definitely worked. And now, Geddon is reaching the top. And I can send another gargoyle towards it. And here we go. Gargoyle is in. Gargoyle fighting. We have a meat wagon pushing as well. And this Geddon is toast. Boom, boom. And then Golemagg. For whatever reason, Golemagg was very hard for me this time. I think part of the reason is because I'm playing with Murk-Eye and I really can't play Murk-Eye, so that makes it more difficult for me to cycle. And another reason is that people in the open queue love to pull the hounds. Well, I'm sure I don't have to tell you that. If you have ever played open queue Geddon, then you will know. You already know. You already know that. Right? Got some pretty good stuff going on. Double pyromancers, no. Well, double polymorphs. It seems that we're both playing at least fairly identical decks here. Alright, if I can get another Chimera, this is probably a mistake. Because we had such a good push going on there that it's unlikely that this Chimera will actually have time to fly over the burn zone. And that's exactly what happened. So I made a mistake there. There's such a good push going. I needed to cycle a little bit to get to... Maybe I could have Batlings out there. That's possible. Batlings might have had just enough time. Or I could have just cycled a little bit more to get 12 eggs, get Wilbur, that sort of stuff. So there were some options, but playing the Chimera was actually bad from me. Alright. Now this is going quite well. Again, I can't push through there. I should not play that Chimera. That is not the mini. Right. I tried to polymorph the... No. Well, at least I was able to extend with the Quillbor, but... Alright. Some little bit questionable plays from me, but overall that went really, really well. And finally, the cherry on top, Ragnaros, went on the first attempt, although after this attempt I realized, hey, I hadn't thought about how am I going to kill Major Domo. But luckily I was teamed up with a Jaina who had plenty of ways to kill Major Domo. So, Onu strategy. With Onu you can drop minis straight at Ragnaros' feet. There are two places where you can do it. You can do it either on the left side, before the first tower, or you can do it on the right side, after the first tower. And on the left side, you often need Onu to take a little bit of a curve towards the chest. So Onu first goes towards the chest, there needs to be a chest there, and then Onu gets into the perfect position so that Onu can drop minis right at Ragnaros' feet. And now I realize that, oh wait, I actually don't have anything here that can kill Major Domo. So yeah, that's why I ditched the Dark Eye Miner and then I put in the Execute. But this was just such a good pull. I mean, this is probably the army that I would use if I was doing this with a friend, doing this with Onu, because having access to the Miner, you can just always agree with the friend, okay, you're going to drop Major Domo, and I'm just going to start pushing after. So, here. Onu gets the right curve. Didn't actually need a chest, by the way. It was enough to be uninterrupted. And after taking that right curve, look at that Swole Troll. Swole Troll with Troll Train, you don't want Meteor Elbow because you want maximum DPS. And just look at it blast away. And that's first phase with 425 to go. Yeah, about that. Are we ready? I need to drop the soldier out there to start fighting against the sun. I'll make it resistant too, so it lasts a little bit longer. Alright. It's going really well. Well, the Gehennas is doing a lot of damage everywhere too, so that's part of the reason why things are going so well. Need to switch the arrow soon. Trying to send too late. Trying to send some bandits out there to contest the chest, but it was a little bit too late. Anyway, one more sun remaining. That's the last sun. And the swole troll. Look at that swole troll. Pa-pow, pa-pow. Swole trolls mean business. So far so good. Now I really shouldn't be pushing yet, because we're so far from overtime. So that I actually found that to be the hardest part with the Ono, because it's so easy to push before overtime. But yeah, and then sometimes you just end up dead because you don't have enough code to finish the job in before overtime, depending on the levels, of course. Right, so here we go. Fighting a little bit. Let's try to steal that giant. There's still a pyromancer and a corehound coming from left. We're now pushing up the right side. Oh no, he's on a good track. Now I could drop a swole troll here. But I actually don't even want to, because I don't want to face the Ragnaros yet. Now it's just some time that we should spend for stabilization. And probably the right plan here is to take the top right tower and then get everything ready so that I can send Onu from the bottom right tower and then drop on the right side of Ragnaros. That's what really should happen here. Whether that's what's actually going to happen is another matter. I need to cycle a little bit, but that was not the right minute to cycle, now was it? On the other hand, it actually turns out super well, because now the Dark Iron Miner is going to chase after it, and that gives me an opportunity to... That actually went perfectly. Sometimes lucky. Alright. But we have lost the right tower in the meanwhile. I was a little bit too focused on the left side. We lost the right tower. There's more and more giants coming in, which is unpleasant. But now that we no longer have the right tower, that means that we can just push Onu towards the left. And now I'm sending Onu with the idea that this Onu is going to make the drop. That's the plan. This Onu will make the drop. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, Onu. No. You are taking too swift of a turn. And that now went a little bit wrong. The trajectory is wrong. The path is wrong. Onu is not going to be able to do it from here. Well, I can always send another Onu. This is not my last Onu here. We still have enough time, plenty of time. I mean, the phase change is going to be trivial to do. And also the swole troll, the resistant swole troll that you use to push into P3 is also going to deal a bunch of damage in P3. It can stay there and keep hitting. So... And we have a chest. That's wonderful. I love chests. And Onu is now on a perfect track. This is great. I should drop the Dark Iron Miner to mine there. I'm code capped. Alright, here we go. Overtime has started. Go. Resistance. Yes. Here we go. This is going to be absolutely perfect. There's the swole troll smacking at Ragnaros. And I'm able to steal that core hound. I can cycle to another swole troll. That's going to take care of the middle sun. And then it's just cycle through the deck, drop all the whelpex at Ragnaros, and look at that swole troll. Still blasting in. Yeah, still some Molten Giants, why not? And Ragnaros just goes down. So that was Molten Core with some off-meta leaders. In preparation for the Heroic, we don't know if Heroic requires new leaders, but if it does, then here's one alternative set that you can use to go through normal first. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.